firefighter asks, what's urgent? A leader asks why urgency keeps running the organization. And that right there is one of the biggest differences between a nonprofit leader and a nonprofit firefighter. Because in the nonprofit world, urgency can start to feel like normal. Hi, I'm Shannon Cherry from My Nonprofit Advisor. Look, there's always a deadline, a donor issue, a staffing gap, a grant report, a board concern, a budget problem, a program need. Something is always demanding attention. And when you're the person constantly stepping in to fix it, it can feel like leadership. It can feel responsible, it can feel necessary, it can even feel noble. But constant firefighting is not the same as leading. A nonprofit firefighter spends the day reacting. They solve the immediate problem. They put out the latest blaze. They save the moment. And to be fair, some of that is needed. Real leadership does involve handling hard things in real time. But if your entire role has become reacting to whatever is loudest, latest, or most chaotic, then you are not really leading the organization. You're surviving it. A leader does something different. A leader does not just ask, what needs my attention today? A leader asks, why does this keep happening? Why are deadlines always becoming emergencies? Why is the team constantly confused? Why are the same donor issues repeating? Why does every campaign feel rushed? Why does the organization depend on last-minute heroics just to function? That is the shift. The firefighter manages symptoms. The leader looks for causes. And that matters because organizations do not become sustainable by getting better at panic. They become sustainable by building clarity, systems, priorities, and trust. A firefighter often becomes the person everyone relies on. You know, the fixer, the rescuer, the one who jumps in and saves the day. And that can feel validating. But it also can create a culture where everything depends on one exhausted person with a calendar full of emergencies and a nervous system held together by caffeine and determination. That is not strong leadership. That is organizational fragility wearing a name badge. Real leadership is harder. Real leadership means stepping back long enough to notice the patterns. It means asking whether the problem is really the problem, or whether the real issue is unclear roles, weak systems, poor planning, avoidance, or a culture that rewards urgency more than strategy. It means building a team that does not collapse every time something unexpected happens. It means protecting space for long-term thinking, even when the short-term noise is so loud. Because if everything is urgent, then eventually nothing gets led well. The mission starts getting managed through stress instead of strategy. The team gets burned out, the message gets sloppy, fundraising gets reactive, and the whole organization starts living from one emergency to the next. A nonprofit firefighter protects the moment. A nonprofit leader protects the mission. Now, that does not mean leaders should ignore crises. It means that they refuse to build an organization where crisis becomes the operating system. So if you're constantly putting out fires, here's the question worth asking. Are you leading? Or are you just becoming a highly skilled at functioning inside dysfunction? Because the goal is not to become a better firefighter. The goal is building a nonprofit that does not need you every 5 minutes. That's leadership.